Welcome to Foundations of Emo, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of emotional music and explore its rich history. I'm your host, Claire.
And I'm your co-host, Dani. Today, we're going back in time to explore the roots of emo, tracing the evolution of this beloved genre from its early days to its current form.
That's right, emo, short for emotional hardcore, emerged in the 80s and 90s as a response to the straight edge and hardcore punk scenes. It was characterised by intense, emotional lyrics, melodic guitar work, and a focus on personal relationships and introspection.
Exactly! And today, we're going to take you on a journey through some of the most influential emo bands that helped shape the genre. From the early days of Sunny Day Real Estate to the mid-2000s heyday of bands like Jimmy Eat World and My Chemical Romance, we'll explore how those groups contributed to the development of emo.
That's actually way better though than anything we could have said.
Well, thank you AI for generating our intro.
That's actually really good though. First, they don't know anything about what we're trying to do, and it was pretty close to what.
It was pretty close.
Yeah.
I went on AI and asked them to write us an episode, and that's what they started with. So
I'm telling you, AI is fucking great.
It terrifies me.
I love it.
I feel like I don't know enough about it. I mean, I use it sometimes, like to make CVs and stuff, but it scares me, honestly.
It's so good when you're like, how do I start something? I always find it hard when you're trying to like form something in your head, and I'm like, how do I start this email, or how do I do that? And I'm like, write me an email.
Hello, Mr. AI. How do I write an email?
It's so good.
How are you?
Oh, I'm stunning, yeah. How are you? I liked how you were... Can I say that? I don't know if I'm allowed to say this.
What?
Can I call you out?
What are you calling me out for?
You were a bit like, Jimmy World?
Jimmy World.
After your half bottle of wine.
Okay, I've had a few drinks before tonight's episode. I'm going to say that.
For a good cause.
But also, I have one drink. I swear to God, I have one drink and my words are like, goodbye. All sentences become one word. I'm like, hello, class, Dani. Like, it's the first thing I lose is my ability to speak a sentence.
But we were celebrating. I was there in spirit. Dani was celebrating because
I handed in my notice at work, bitch. After nearly 3 years of my current job, I am leaving.
I don't get any fun stories now.
I'm very excited. I feel like I'm going to have fun stories.
We can't say where you were.
I can't give like a lot of details about my new job, but I'm basically going to be doing admin for a Garda station. So
she's going to be wearing a Garda uniform and walking
I'm not
into the tune of the Bill soundtrack. What is? They don't make them like that anymore.
I'm not going to be a police, but I'm going to be doing the admin for the police. So I'm hoping I still have like the same spicy stories that I once had in my last job.
I'm going to be doing the admin for the police.
For the police, for the guards.
So congrats to Dani.
Congrats to me. I'm starting in like 3.5 weeks or something. It's my new job.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I had that like handed in my notice yesterday, and then today it was announced to all my colleagues, and I had that like panic when I was like, oh no, maybe I'm not leaving. But I was like,
they're like, too late, you handed it in.
Yeah, it's like, it's too late, everyone knows. But in my head I was like, maybe I made a mistake. I feel like I've had that in every job. It's just like that moment of unknown where you're like,
yeah,
shit.
Yeah. The unknown is scary.
Any news with you?
No. What's my news? Did we talk about the gigs we went to? When's the last time we recorded?
I went to see Hosier.
Oh, yeah.
On Friday last year.
Last year, was it? Yeah.
It was last year. Yeah, crazy. I went to see Hosier last week, and man, he's so stupid talented. Like,
I thought you said he's so stupid.
He's such a stupid man.
So stupid.
A Hosier gig is insane. Like, I don't care if you like his music, if you don't like his music, like, just go to see him. He's just got so much talent. You don't like him.
But hear me out here. I saw him play at Longitude back when Longitude was good. And you can never remove the sound of drunk girls screaming, "Take me to church," from your brain.
To be fair, there was a lot of drunk girls in the crowd when I went to see him. And there was actually a drunk couple in front of me.
Oh.
And they were drunk, struggling to stand up, kind of like falling over. And then when that song came on, they were like, "Take me to church." Like, it was
so overplayed.
It was a lot. I mean, excellent song, but yeah, not my favorite to see in a live setting just because of people's reactions. But like, he has got so many tunes. And then he played Nina, Cried Power, which is like this very, let's all fucking rebel. Like it's a song that gets everyone in action. And he did this big talk before it about Palestine, and I got maybe a little bit emotional. I was like, yeah,
Toast emotion.
Fucking let's all fight for Palestine. I was going over to fight in the war.
That's her new job.
I'd had a few drinks. I was fighting in the war.
I went to see Sugar Babes.
You went, same vibes.
Who absolutely did not talk about Palestine. And I got absolutely drowned. Last Friday was like a shit show. As soon as they stepped on stage, the heavens opened and everyone drowned.
To be fair, like that was the same night I was at Hosier, and we got a good couple of songs, and then the heavens opened. And I had no hood. No. I had no waterproof jacket.
Did not dress for the occasion.
To be fair, absolutely my fault. Like, we're in Ireland. We knew it was going to rain.
No, because I had I wouldn't say it was waterproof. Maybe like water resistant. Which one's worse? I don't know. But that did not help. It went through it and was through my clothes, and I was very wet.
Yeah, no, I was soaked. Like I had like a cute little dress on, a denim jacket. I curled my hair, and like an hour into the gig, I was just a fucking wet rat. And I was like, this was the worst thing I could have done. Also, my whole family was like, wow, Dani, this outfit, you look like kind of like the Statue of Liberty. But they didn't say it in a nice way. They said it like making fun of me.
I would never take that in a nice way.
I will say I have a friend who told me I look like a Greek goddess.
Yeah, that's...
Marie told me this.
Well, of course. Shout out to Marie.
And then my family was like, you look like the Statue of Liberty. And they were all making fun of me. And then my 6-year-old daughter, turned around to me and she went, yeah, a cool Statue of Liberty.
Oh.
And I was like, crying. But yeah, I was just a fucking drowned rat Statue of Liberty by the end of it.
So bad. And we also went to see Movements.
Yes, we went to see Movements, and that was such a good gig.
That was so good. Like, I can't believe how good that was.
It was such a small room. We were in Whelan's, but like small room. It's been such a while since I've been to such a small gig.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I forgot about people like crowd surfing. Is that what you
lot
call it?
of crowd surfing.
So much. Like at one point, you remember your man who like got up on the stage and the lead singer was literally like,
can
go.
You get off?
Like, why are you still here?
Jump, go.
And then I think eventually the photographer came and shoved him off because it was like, just get off the stage.
Yeah. And the Winter Passing supported.
Yes.
Excellent Irish band who are kind of getting back out there at the moment, so everyone should check them out.
Yeah.
They're playing a gig in, I want to say, the Workman's, in a couple of weeks.
No, I think they said October,
a couple of weeks away.
Sometime around then. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
But check them out if you haven't heard of them.
They're really good, yeah.
Or if you have heard of them, go check them out because they're excellent.
Yeah, what did the girl say? She had bats in her attic.
Bats in the attic, so there may not be merch. But there's like a male and female singer kind of duetting.
Brother and sister, apparently.
Brother and sister. I think it's really interesting. Yeah. I think it's different.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
And Movements were so cute because they like shouted them out for like a good 5 minutes, which was really nice because they didn't have to do that and they put a lot of time and effort into saying, go follow the Winter Passing, which you should all do too. Woo!
And Movements were like, we had a choice of like 5 bands to support us and we chose these specifically, and we got a big break when people like asked us to go on tour with them, so we think that you should go and support them, check them out and all. It was very cute, like supporting the smaller bands. Yeah. So big support for them.
And also, what's his name? Krusty? With
the clown? I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
With the GAA jerseys. That was
yeah.
Or something.
Some chap from Movements is like a fashion blogger.
A vintage fashion blogger, apparently, on Snapchat.
On TikTok.
That's what I meant. Sorry, down with cool kids. Whatevs. I have neither of those social media platforms. But he was wearing a Dublin GAA jersey and he just looked cool. He's so random.
Yeah. The second they came on stage, I was like, is that guy wearing a Dublin GAA jersey?
Yeah.
And yeah, he was cool.
And I was so weirdly attracted to him in his
GAA
jersey.
That's unclear.
And his moustache and his sweatiness, yeah. It was
no judgment, that's on her.
Thing. Anyway, we are here now to talk about UnderOath.
UnderOath. I watched a YouTube video last night where they kept referring to them as UnderOath, and I was like, I don't think I can refer to them as UnderOath because in my head they're UnderOath.
UnderOath, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I'm going to refer to them going forward.
Okay. I also see your episode is 9 pages long.
It is, so we'll get going.
Speak faster.
So, UnderOath was founded by lead singer Dallas Taylor and guitarist Luke Morton in Ocala, Florida in 1997. Do you know another band that formed in Ocala, Florida?
Arkansas. No, I don't.
A Day to Remember. With Luke stating that they got their name from, quote, somewhere in the Bible. So they asked Aaron Gillespie, who attended Luke's church, to play drums for them, and also recruited Corey Stager on guitar and Octavio Fernandez on bass. Ever since Aaron Gillespie was born, he has been nearly blind in his left eye.
Oh.
I was going to say cool fact. I don't know if that's a cool fact.
I don't know, cool fact.
Go on.
My eyesight is getting better.
Really? Is that a thing?
Yeah, because I'm so short-sighted that, you know, like as people get older, they start needing glasses for reading.
Yeah.
So that's happening to me because I'm so short-sighted, it's like slowly getting better. Yeah.
Because every time I go to the opticians, they're like, you're more blind than before. And
I
I'm
said
like,
to
cool.
her today, I was like, so like, what's the like, you know, worst eyesight you've seen? Because I'm -6, which is very blind. She was like, we have people who are -12. And I was like, what?
Wow, I'm so sighted.
She was like, to be honest, once you go past -4, it doesn't really matter because you can't fucking see anything anyway. It's like, fair.
I'm -1 point.
Yeah, I hate people like you.
Minus
Like, I
one-
can't see anything. I'm so blind.
1.75.
Oh, fuck off. You don't even need glasses. Take them off.
I'm fucking blind. So, at the age of 14, Aaron worked at the church and vacuumed for $60 a week. He enjoyed playing the drums at church. He was told that he did not play well and that he played too loud. However, one of the leaders in the church came up to him and said he believed Gillespie would travel the world playing drums. So, at this exact time is when he received a call from UnderOath asking him to play drums for them. So, of course, he was like, it's a sign from fucking
Jesus.
God or whatever.
Yeah.
That's really rude, but you know what I mean. From fucking God or whatever.
That's being rude. Okay.
So the rest of the band members were from Tampa, Florida, and so they're often referred to as a Tampa-based band, but they're kind of from all regions of Florida. And they, at this time, were all in high school, so they were about the ages of like 16 when they started. They were little babies. They spent a year touring the Florida area and playing festivals before they signed to Alabama-based label Take Hold Records
Never
in
heard of them.
1999, if you want to feel old.
I was 9.
So around this time, founding member Luke Morton left the band without ever having performed on any of their recordings.
Oh, that's sad for poor Lukey boy.
So poor Luke, he started the band and then he was out. In July 1999, they released their debut studio album, Active Depression, through Take Hold Records, with only 2,000 copies originally released. It was produced by James Paul Weisner, who has produced for Newfound Glory, Dashboard, as well as Paramore's All We Know Is Falling.
All we know. Great album.
The album style has been described as a metalcore with death metal influences. The hidden track on the original release, Spirit of a Living God, begins with commentary by lead guitarist Corey Stager describing God, talking about receiving Jesus Christ and dedicating the album to those that were victims to rape, suicide, and depression. It features drummer Aaron Gillespie in the background of the commentary, singing along with an acoustic guitar. Casey Boland of Alternative Press stated that the album sounds hopelessly dated by modern standards and that the songs are complicated seemingly for the sake of being complicated. He wrote that the album has flashes of brilliance but doesn't have the creative legs to stand the test of time.
That's really sad. It's not very nice.
Did you listen to this album?
Is it the first one?
So on Spotify, they're in a different order.
Yeah, I was totally confused with.
Like it kind of looks like an EP because it's like later on Spotify, but they re-released it, which is why
I definitely
it's on it.
listened to them all, yes.
Like,
but I didn't know
it
was
says
there.
it's from like 2013 or something,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's from 1999.
I'm not gonna lie. After like album number 3, all their albums just mushed together for me.
This sounds like deathcore. It's like, but like, what is wild is that it's so fucking like demonic sounding, but the songs are like Jesus, my Lord, and they're very religious.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, we're just what's the word? Discarding the stereotype of demonic. You know, maybe all the demons are not talking like that. Maybe that's how Jesus talks. Huh?
So I know what, like, I got into UnderOath like after this, not at this time.
Same.
But when I got into them, people were like, "Oh, they're like a Christian band," and I was like, "What do you mean? What?" Like, I was like, "I don't get it. Like, what do
Yeah.
you mean a Christian band?" And I think like listening back to them now, I'm like, "Oh my god, all their songs are about Jesus," which I think I didn't cop at the time.
I'm not copying it.
It's hard because those first albums are like,
I'm like,
But when you read the lyrics, it's like, Jesus, my God.
Oh.
And you're like, what? It just doesn't sound like that's what they should be saying, honestly. So the following year, they recruited Christopher Dudley on keyboard, and in July 2000, they released their second album, Cries of the Past, also through Take Hold and also produced by James Paul Wisner. Only 3,000 copies were pressed, but were quickly sold. The album is 42 minutes long, but only features 5 songs, with And I Dreamt of You clocking in at 11 minutes 24 seconds, making it UnderOath's longest recorded song.
And everyone's longest recorded song. Who else has a song that long?
Absolutely no need. I'll say that now. The album received mainly positive reviews, with Alex Cantwell of Chronicles of Chaos praising the band's ability to mix hardcore punk and black metal together, saying the album is Cradle of Filth meets Hatebreed. However, Casey Boland of Alternative Press, who's the same guy who reviewed the last album, he gave more of a mixed review, praising the addition of Chris's keyboard, saying Dudley's contributions add just enough sonic colouring to make the songs somewhat unique. However, he criticised the length of the song, saying they feel like patchworks of riffs sewn haphazardly together into an ugly quilt of disjointed patterns.
An ugly quilt, that's great.
I listened to all their albums, and then I saw these guys on Spotify and I thought they were EPs, so I listened to them kind of at the end. And yeah, I was listening to this and I was like, there's just no need for like 11-minute songs.
I didn't listen to the full 8 minutes of them all. I was kind of like, once I understood they were all long songs, I was like,
yeah. And like, to be fair,
like, they weren't bad, I didn't think. It was just...
I can't get into the like demonic singing like that. Like, that's not for me. But like the actual riffs and the music in the background is enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I was reading my book and listening to it in the background, and
I don't think I'd be able to do that.
It kind of worked because the lyrics weren't sucking me in because I couldn't really hear them,
yeah.
But there was like a nice melody in the background, if you know what I mean. It wasn't as bad as it could have been. And to be fair, like, this is how they started out. Yeah. And for a band starting out at 16 years old, they're good.
They're better than some of the bands we've
Not
heard.
for me. I'm not majorly into like that deathcore kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
same.
It doesn't sound as rough as some of the other stuff that we've listened to.
Like Bring Me the Horizon, Dead Babies.
Dead Babies. It's all about dead Jesus. So in 2001, guitarist Corey Stager left the band, and flash forward to March 17th, 2021, 20 years later, he was actually killed in a car accident.
For fuck's sake. Why does this happen in every episode you do?
I don't know.
Why do they all die?
I did not mean for
in
this.
Car accidents.
Vocalist Dallas Taylor posted on Facebook saying, "I don't know how to type this. I'm without words. Yesterday at around 6 p.m, Corey Stager, one of the original founding members of UnderOath, was rear-ended in a car wreck and went home to be with the Lord." He went on to say, "He was one of the kindest souls I've ever known. I really cannot wrap my head around this, and I don't even know what to type. I love you, Corey. You're one of the greatest, closest friends I've ever known. My heart is completely broken for his wife, kids, and his family. If you can please keep them in your prayers."
That's really sad.
So yeah, that is sad.
But also, like, what age is he that he has a wife, kids, and a family?
Well, this is 20 years after this time that we're talking about. So when they started the band, they were 16. So this is like 20 years later.
Got it. Yeah,
so yeah.
On it, yeah.
So Tooth and Nail Records bought out Take Hold Records, and UnderOath was signed to a subsidiary of them called Solid State Records. In January 2002, Grant Brandel joined the band on bass, and in February they released their third studio album, The Changing of Times, through Solid State, again produced by James Paul Wisner. It's the first album to include guitarist Timothy McTague and bassist William Notka. Casey Boland of Alternative Press yet again reviewed the album, saying,
"Why are you so obsessed with me?"
he reviews all the albums, so I had to just include like his progression of listening to them. So he said, "The Changing of Times was an Olympic pole vault leap-like forward for UnderOath. The increased use of melody may have alienated longtime fans, yet the new direction proved much more successful creatively and in terms of popularity." Dallas Taylor continues to belt out harsh yelping that resembles a trapped fox, but drummer Aaron Gillespie's singing offers a compelling counterpoint and presaged a swarm of fans adopting the scream-sing dichotomy that would become the hallmark of screamo. Vocalist Dallas explained that the lyrics in the album are about people playing with other people's emotions and how it can leave you bitter, and struggling through life's hardships and trying to find God in all of it.
Still about Jesus.
So did you listen to this album, Changing of Times? So it's like the first one as well.
Yeah, and I liked it, but now that I'm understanding where it comes in the progression of things, it is one of those things where people are like, you're leaving all the original fans behind. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, oh well, that's guys.
So I watched a video on YouTube last night that was about the like history of UnderOath, and they really skim over this album. And then I was reading the comments on YouTube, and everyone was like, this album is so important because they were like deathcore, like
Yeah.
and then this album is like this progression into something else, and then the next album is like completely different.
Yeah.
But like this album is so important in their progression. This is like a major album. Honestly, a few songs are a bit like too much for me, but some songs are really good. Like that first song on it, I can't remember what it's called, something about the sun rising or something. But it's like, it's got a really nice melody, and it's a really good song. I really liked it. I listened to it a few times.
They do have really good melodies. It is just that like...
But it's the balance.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they're one of the first bands that really balance. Aaron, who is the drummer, just FYI,
Just saying.
he's the drummer, and he does the clean, like melodic vocals. And then Dallas Taylor, he's like the singer, like doing all the like really harsh things.
Drink every time Dani goes...
So in 2003, UnderOath performed at Warped Tour for the first time in support of the album's release. However, their participation on the tour ended abruptly when Dallas was asked to leave the band. In an interview with Aaron Gillespie from 2020, he said that Dallas had a lot of family stuff going on and couldn't fully commit to the band. The rest of them were fully invested, but it sounded like he was quite distracted. There was also a rumour that he was having issues with a girl and left Warped Tour to go try and make things work with her. There were rumours that the band would break up, but they went on tour supporting a trio in August 2003 with Matt Tarpey from Winter Solstice filling in as their temporary vocalist. This is really messy, and like I was googling trying to find like more information, and it's like no one knows the true story of why they kicked the singer out mid Warped Tour.
Yeah.
But it has to be kind of a big deal. Because I don't think you kick your vocalist out while you're on Warped Tour for something like silly.
Yeah. Unless you just wanted to leave.
So Dallas Taylor re-emerged with his new band, Maylene and the Sons of Disaster, in mid-2004.
Do I know them?
We know them because they support every other band we've ever talked about on this podcast. So he's the lead vocalist in the band. And in 2016, he was in an ATV accident where he suffered multiple broken bones, head injuries, and internal bleeding. And the band ended up taking a hiatus for 6 years while he recovered.
How many fucking accidents is going to happen?
Yeah, no, not not great.
I mean, that's what I'm just saying for people who say Jesus looks after them. They don't seem to be.
This is Jesus' fault, because if he was watching them, this shouldn't have happened.
Cut that out, don't say that.
But ATVs are terrifying to me.
What's an ATV?
Like those big, like quads kind of things.
Yeah, like why? I mean,
Ozzy Osbourne had an accident on one like years ago,
did.
remember?
No.
No, that was a big thing. Yeah, they're those big like quad bike kind of things.
Why would you get on them?
Everybody has an accident on them.
Why would you get on them?
My friend from work tried to get me on the back of her bicycle today.
Don't worry.
She has some, one of those, I don't know what they're called, like electric bicycles that you have the key for.
Yeah.
And I sat on it and I turned the key and it went vroom! And I was like, absolutely not.
No.
And I got off and she's like, oh, I'll give you a backer. And I was like, I will never get on that again. Thank you very much for your offer. It's not happening. I'll die. And that was the end of that. And I think that's how people should be with ATVs, honestly.
I think so too.
2 months after that, they appeared at CMJ Fest in New York with Spencer Chamberlain, formerly of This Runs Through, as their new lead vocalist.
That sounds like diarrhea.
I was just about to say, This Runs Through, terrible name for a band.
Name.
Makes me think of diarrhea.
I went straight to diarrhea.
So he'd previously toured with UnderOath with his old band and was once roommates with keyboardist Chris. Aaron Gillespie stated that before Spencer had been in the band, the group members didn't really get along. However, after he joined, everything was just normal. We clicked.
Oh.
After Spencer joined, they contemplated changing their name and becoming a brand new band, but ultimately decided to remain as UnderOath.
Good choice.
The band took the end of 2003 off touring to focus on writing their next album, and in June 2004 they released their fourth studio album, They're Only Chasing Safety, through Solid State Records. It was again produced by James Paul Wisner after recording it at his home studio, Wisner Productions in Florida. They originally had 2 other producers in mind, but due to timing conflicts, they stuck with James. Which to me, I'm like, poor fucking James.
So awkward. Like, fine, James, we'll stick with you.
we wanted other people, but it didn't happen. So you'll do.
Yeah.
It's fine. So throughout the making of the album, they paid rent to stay at James's house, and his neighbour repeatedly banged on the door because the room in which they were recording guitars shared a wall with the neighbour.
That is absolutely fair. Fair.
I just feel like if you're going to set up a recording studio in your house, you should think about these things.
You should. Do not put the wall of the guitar room in that room.
Put something on the wall. Soundproof it. Like, I just feel like there's more that you can do. So the band learned that the neighbour was a nurse and worked nights. So the band switched rooms and had to re-record half of the songs because of this.
Yeah, well, dead right.
Yeah, dead right. But I still feel like if you're setting up a recording studio in your house, they should be considered.
Yeah. Or maybe knock and give the old neighbours a heads up, by the way.
So Aaron wrote most of the lyrics for the album, and they're about him ending a 4-year relationship. He stated to Alternative Press, "I think I would have died if we didn't write these songs. I thought I'd ruined someone's life. It's hard to explain, but you can't just pretend that things are great and go on and get married." What are your thoughts on the Running, Chasing, Safety?
Oh, I love this album so much. Love it, love it, love it.
This album was such a fucking part of my growing up. Such a part of me finding this kind of music.
Yeah.
Such a...
Everything.
I have like these really distinct memories of me being 17 and like being with the guy I was with at the time. And I can't remember him liking this kind of music, but for some reason, it's tied in this time frame to him. Like, I feel like maybe I was getting to the bus to his house or something, and that's when I always used to listen to it. This album was just fucking, it was everything.
Like, when you hear that first line, "Can you feel your heart being raised?" It's just so good!
Absolute stellar album.
And like, it's probably, I probably like it more because of the nostalgia aspect. Like, I probably think it's better than maybe it is.
Yeah.
Because it's so tied to my 17-year-old self.
I feel that as well, but I just like every time I put it on, I'm just like, yes, yes. So Spencer and Aaron both damaged their voices during recording, and Aaron was briefly hospitalised with blisters on his tonsils. The artwork depicts Julie McCadden, who's the wife of designer Chris McCadden, wearing an oxygen mask.
Oh.
Chris, who had little budget to design the cover, hired his wife rather than a professional model for a photography session. So yeah, rather than pay someone, they were like, "Here, get in there."
That's fair.
It's so iconic.
Yeah, it is.
It's so iconic, that picture with the fucking gas mask on. With Aaron Gillespie being the only original member, their only Chasing Safety had been a vast change in sound and rhythm from what they performed earlier on. This is what I'm saying, like, changing of times, it was like kind of starts moving in that direction, and this was a completely different sound for the band.
Yeah.
And
a good one.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Absolutely iconic. So the inspiration for the album... Guitarist Timothy Matteig used Jimmy Eat World's Your New Aesthetic as a template for a boy brushed red living in black and white. And listen, I went and I listened to this song. I do know Jimmy Eat World, but I don't know the songs very well. And when you put this on, and then you put on Boy Brushed Red, it's insane that they haven't been sued. Honestly, it's so similar. If you want to hear more, go and listen to our playlist, because we'll have more information there.
I was going to say, come and listen to our episode on Jimmy Eat World. I was like, how drunk are you? We haven't
Go to the future and listen to our episode on Jimmy Eat World that we haven't recorded. Reinventing Your Exit has been compared to Hawthorne Heights. It's Dangerous Business Walking Out Your Front Door is a murder ballad that features 1980s-esque electronic parts, recalling the work of The Used. With Down Set Go, the band attempts to emulate the style of Brand New's Deja Entendu, with which they were enamoured. The album has been defined as screamo and melodic hardcore, and drummer Aaron has more of a vocal presence, contrasting Spencer's screams. The album received generally favourable reviews and outsold their 3 previous albums combined. It sold close to 100,000 copies the first week of its release and was certified gold by the end of 2005.
Yeah, I can see that.
I just think it's insane how much inspiration was drawn from other things.
Yeah,
and I feel like, I mean, there's so few bands that like produce a brand new sound that no one's ever heard before. Like, everyone's influenced by other things. But to me, it's crazy that like nearly every song can be pinpointed to like being inspired by someone else. Yeah. And the YouTube video I watched last night actually like said like a lot of their sound comes from like these old hardcore bands. I can't remember the name of them. Botch was one of them. There was just all these old hardcore bands that I don't really know very well, but they played like a clip of them and then a clip of UnderOath, and I was like, yeah, no, I hear that. Yeah, no, I hear that. Yeah. So in June 2004, the same month as the album's release, the band embarked on a US tour with 18 Visions, excellent band, not excellent, but like
They're like alright band.
like I don't think they're good, but I feel like I've got a lot of feelings tied to that band. And then went on to play Hellfest and Warped Tour. At one point on Warped Tour, their audience grew to match the size of the U's, who were one of the headliners.
Wow.
There were plans for them to support Senses Fail on tour, but they had to pull out due to vocalist Spencer's wedding plans and some other business issues that affected it. Instead, they instigated the Get Awesome tour with Stretch Armstrong and The Chariot, and then supported Coheed and Cambria on their US tour. I think that's really cool that they played at Warped Tour and their audience was like rivaling that of the headliners when they were on a small stage.
Raging, wouldn't you?
This is like after Chasing Safety is like when they really, really blew up.
Peaked, yeah.
In March 2005, they performed as part of the very first Taste of Chaos tour alongside bands such as My American Heart, Ecstatic Lullaby, Senses Fail, Killswitch Engage, and My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard of them before. Shortly after that, they embarked on their first headline tour labelled the Totally Badical Tour, supported by Fear Before the March of Flames, which like I haven't heard of that band in 8 million years, but like that triggers something in my mind.
Yeah.
The Chariot, Hopes Fall, and These Arms Are Snakes, which is an excellent name for a band.
Excellent.
They played Bamboozle Festival and Cornerstone Festival before going on a tour of Europe, which included a performance at Download. They then returned to play Warped Tour in June and July 2005, refusing to perform at the entire tour as they wished to take some time to work on their next album. They then played several shows with Silverstein before embarking on a Canadian tour in September with The Used and Alexis on Fire. UnderOath closed out 2005 playing a 4-day tour dubbed Come and Live. Profits from each show benefited a separate charity.
They're really bad with their tour names.
Yeah, Totally Badical.
Like what?
That's really embarrassing.
That reminds me of Radcore.
Radcore. In June 2006, they released their 5th studio album, Define the Great Line, through Tooth and Nail Records. They'd been courted by major labels for the previous few months, but had decided to go with Solid State's parent company, Tooth and Nail. The album was produced by Adam Duchowitz of Killswitch Engage. You may remember he also produced Homesick for A Day to Remember.
I do not remember that.
You don't remember us talking about your man from Killswitch Engage producing?
No.
Okay. Also produced by Matt Goldman, who's produced for The Devil Wears Prada, Amber Lane, Drop Dead Gorgeous, and Four Letter Lie.
I remember him. Drop Dead Gorgeous. That's that band, I think, that I was trying to remember that time. And I couldn't. I think that's them.
And the band themselves. They began writing their album 2 weeks after the release of Chasing Safety and began work on it only 5 months after. When the album was released, listening parties were held at Hot Topic stores, which was the first time in the company's history.
Oh.
Which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, when I was a kid, I just thought if we had a Hot Topic, I would have died. Like we had Asha.
Oh, shout out to Asha. We still have Asha, right?
I think it still exists.
Yeah.
If you're from Ireland, you know what I mean? Like you don't even need to be from Dublin because you would have travelled to go to Asha.
Yeah.
Which is basically Hot Topic for Irish people, but it was just one store.
And they sold it was like maybe 10 bands that they had t-shirts of.
I just remember they had a Good Charlotte hoodie, and all I wanted in my life was a Good Charlotte hoodie when I first got into like alternative music.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mom, I need a Good Charlotte hoodie. And she worked in town, so she went to the store like during her lunch break or something, and she was like, it's 40 probably pound. She was like, it's £40. And I was like, but like I need this. And I think it was like my birthday and Christmas present combined.
Yeah.
Like it was such a big deal that I got it because it was so expensive. But that was my first foray into Asha. And then as I got a little bit older and I started going into the city centre by myself, I had to go to Asha and just, I could never afford anything.
No,
but it was like,
browsed.
you just had to walk around and just see all the things that they had.
I think I bought a Nirvana hoodie there. That was probably one of the only things.
And now you can buy it in pennies.
Now you can buy it fucking everywhere.
The album has been defined as metalcore emo, Christian metal, post-metal and post-hardcore, and the variety of styles was an unintentional move as they took influences from Cult of Luna, Beloved and At the Drive-In. The album abandoned the pop choruses of Chasing Safety and instead demonstrated a heavier and more eclectic range of styles. The band themselves said that the heavier style was nothing super intentional. The songs just came out that way when we went to write. Vocalist Spencer noted that the vocals on this album would sound less like an imitation of the last vocalist, Dallas Taylor, and more like Spencer's vocals for his old band. What did you think of this album?
I really expected this album to be on the same vein of They're Only Chasing, but it wasn't.
Fair.
So I was slightly disappointed in that, but not that it was a bad album. I was just expecting like a version 2.0 and I didn't get it.
I kind of feel the same. This album has like a good few bops on it. Like, it's a good album. But when you're coming from Chasing Safety and you're expecting similar, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
not the same vibe. I listened to a podcast talking to Aaron Gillespie, and he was like, it would be a disservice to make the same album again and again and again. And from what I heard from like him talking was that they're really creative people, like all of them. They're super creative. He writes pop songs for other artists. Has another band. All he does is make music. That's his life, is making music all the time. And when he said that, I kind of understood it. Like, you don't want to make the same thing again and again.
Yeah, to be
This
fair.
is a progression. This is like making something new. This is like, I love this sound and we're going this direction. And I don't know.
It's the same with all bands, so they're not making music for us, really. They
Yeah.
make music for themselves.
Yeah, they
So-
enjoy making music, and they're making music, and that's what they're doing.
And if they're really creative.
As I said, good album. I actually really like this album.
Yeah.
It's just not Chasing Safety Part 2. Which I kind of, like, I love Chasing Safety so much that I want
A part 2.
a Part 2 and a Part 3. But also a good album, but just different. So the title of the album, according to keyboardist Chris Dudley, comes from defining that line for yourself between becoming the man or the woman that you want to be and the man or the woman other people want you to be. For its lyrics, the band maintained its focus on Christianity and personal struggles, and these themes were praised by All Music reviewer James Christopher Munger, who stated that while UnderOath explore their faith with both reverence and suspicion, sometimes that sets them apart from the polarizing righteousness of many contemporary Christian music acts. Their crossover potential remains huge, as the prevailing themes of isolation, anger, introspection, and the quest for self-confidence are universal. To Find the Great Line sold 98,000 copies in its first week and debuted on the Billboard 200 chart at number 2, the highest debut for a Christian album since 1997.
Wow.
The album was certified gold in November 2006.
What was the other Christian album?
I actually don't know. I meant to look it up. I probably would not have heard of it. I do feel like, of all the times that I listened to UnderOath, I never felt like we were singing about Jesus. Like, I
No.
feel like it's such a good crossover.
Yeah.
That
You never
think
know.
you think maybe we're singing about a girl, or maybe we're singing about whatever, but
The whole time we're singing about Jesus.
and they fucking, you know, on Chasing Safety when they're like, Jesus, I'm
Yeah.
ready to come.
And it still doesn't, yeah.
And I was like, not religious at all. It's such a good crossover.
Yeah, definitely. They hit it well.
So the band were scheduled to play Warped Tour for June and July 2006, but at the end of June, it was announced that they were dropping out with 15 shows still left to do. In a statement, the band said that the members felt it necessary to take some immediate time to focus on our friendship, as that's more important than risking it for the sake of touring at this time. However, during an interview with Fat Mike from the band NoFX, he stated that he focused on criticising UnderOath while he was on stage, as he heard that one of the members was against same-sex marriage, and he didn't want anyone homophobic on the tour. He said things like, if you're Christian or believe in God like UnderOath, I would leave right now, because I'm trying to offend as many Christians as I can. He also dedicated the song Idiot Son of an Asshole to God, and on stage announced that Spencer had been on his tour bus drinking and doing cocaine, something that was vehemently denied by their management. This later led to rumours of UnderOath dropping off the tour due to Spencer's drug addiction and him having to go to rehab, but drummer Aaron responded to these rumours saying, if there was something serious going on like that and he was in rehab, we'd have to tell the press, but it's just not true. Later, Fat Mike attended UnderOath's Bible study group just to antagonise everybody, and they still prayed for him and his family.
I have many things to say.
Go on, that's what we're here for. This is a podcast, that's where we say
Like,
things.
I completely get where Fat Mike is coming from, and I don't disagree with anything he's saying, really, but also going to, like, show up to their study group, like, just leave them at it, like, you know.
When I heard about this, I was like, okay, I absolutely 1000,000,000% am for same-sex marriage, and I want everybody to marry whoever the fuck they want. I'm not a religious person. I respect your beliefs if they don't hurt anybody else. If your beliefs are you don't think that, like, same-sex should marry, I don't think that's cool. But at the same time, the fact that Fat Mike went to their Bible study group just to antagonize them, dickhead move.
Yeah, not cool.
Leave people to fucking take comfort from whatever they need.
Yeah. Like, they're not doing any, well, I don't know, maybe they are doing harm to people, but, like, it's just unnecessary.
Absolutely unnecessary. And I actually saw a clip of this on YouTube last night when I was watching a video, and it was like Paramore was there, Emery were there, UnderOath were there. They were just having a Bible study group. They were just getting around reading the Bible. Absolutely not for me. 1000%. I'm not saying I support that.
Yeah.
Like, whatever brings you comfort and joy, you know, that's for you.
Unless
But I would never
illegal.
go there to antagonize the people there. Like, mind your business. Mind your fucking business.
Yeah, because I'm just very much like, just let people live their fucking lives. Like, people do what they want to do.
If that's what you need to get through the day,
Yeah.
is to believe in God and say a prayer,
Go
100% go for it. You're not hurting me. You do what you need to do.
Unless you're praying, that something hurts me. But yeah.
But you know what I mean? I'm just
Yeah.
like, I think the fact that he went to the Bible study group
I don't.
is horrific.
Yeah.
Like, get a fucking life.
Yeah.
Mind your own fucking business.
Yeah.
And then just a little side note. When I was like reading about this, I found a quote from Hayley Williams from Paramore about him saying, Fat Mike used to tell people that I gave good rim jobs on stage when I was 19 years old. He was 42 at the time. Not that the age terribly matters. Not sure what's defensible about it. Do I think he should be permanently cancelled or anything? Nah. Am I interested in giving a dime to this guy? Absolutely not.
So when you said rim jobs on stage, I was like, what? But I see what you mean. He was saying it on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. I was imagining him giving rim jobs on stage.
Like, okay, when I was about 14, 15, I had a friend who was really into NoFX and who got me into them. So I have listened to a lot of NoFX in my time. Like, I'm aware of the band and I'm quite familiar with them. I don't think they have many good songs. Like, to this day, it's not like a band that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go back and listen to NoFX. Like, I don't think they're a good band. Reading this, I'm like, fuck you. He's like, oh, I'm so punk. But like, that's not being punk. That's being a fucking dickhead.
That's just, yeah. I don't know.
That's not being punk.
No, it's not. It's just being an arsehole.
Being punk is being rebellious, sure, and, you know.
And I'm sure Hayley Williams was very much outnumbered in terms of, like, female to male ratios, and she was probably surrounded by older men a whole lot of the time, and I'm pretty sure this probably would have made her feel great, or safe, or secure, or...
100%.
You know.
She's, like, one of the very few girls on the fucking Warped Tour or whatever, and it's like, there's this old guy being like, haha, she gives good rim jobs. And it's like, oh, yeah, so punk. Go on, Mike.
It's so weird.
I hate it.
I was about to be like, that's not what punk's about, but, like... I don't know what punk's about, but
being
I wouldn't
punk
say
is
it's
like
about
being
that.
rebellious. But that's
Yeah.
not being rebellious. That's literally just being an asshole.
Yeah. Just being
And
an
now I'm
asshole.
really mad at Fat Mike and I hate him.
I hate him too.
Like, I was going to say irrelevant to this episode because it's not about Fat Mike, but like, I mean,
Relevant.
it's relevant
Yeah.
because he's a dickhead. Keyboardist Chris said that a few days after Warped Tour, they got together to discuss everything, and this prevented them from breaking up altogether. In September 2006, they went on a tour of Central and South America, which led into a Canadian tour with support from Silverstein, Monine, and He Is Legend. In October and November 2006, the group went on the international edition of the Taste of Chaos tour, visiting New Zealand, Australia, Japan, and Europe. The US got Deftones, Thrice, Atreyu, Story of the Year, As I Lay Dying, and Silverstein, to name a few. We got Segasin, Anti-Flag, Alexis on Fire, Census Fail, Taken Back Sunday, and UnderOath.
Unreal. Can you imagine if, like, this was now? I didn't appreciate it back then.
Oh my god. You weren't at Taste of Chaos, were you?
Yes, I was.
You were at Taste of Chaos. I was at Taste of Chaos.
Why do you not know that?
I don't know, because I feel like there was a few gigs back then that you weren't at, and I can't remember which ones you were. You weren't at Enter Shikari because you were sick.
I was at Enter Shikari in the Ambassador. I was not at Enter Shikari.
Theatre Lounge.
Yeah.
Taste of Chaos
Taste of Chaos, Census Fail, Anti-Flag, Seosin, Take My Sunday.
That was an unreal show that we were at.
Can you imagine if we got tickets now to a show that had all those bands?
Stop.
Like, we wouldn't.
But I remember vividly queuing up, because it was this weird thing. Where was it? In the... was it in the Ambassador? No.
The Olympia.
It was in the Olympia.
Yeah.
But I remember that there was like a cloakroom, but the cloakroom was under the stage.
Yeah.
So at the end of the gig, you had to queue up
Yeah.
in front of the stage to get your jacket. And I have this very vivid memory queuing up to get jackets with our other friend, and Chris Dudley, the keyboardist from UnderOath, he came out on the stage. You weren't there, right?
I was. He signed somebody's
Why
arm.
do you remember being with somebody else?
Jesus. I'm
Sorry, I
so
forgot
handy.
you from my memories.
He signed somebody's arm, but it
He
wasn't
signed my
your arm.
hand.
Was it you?
He signed my hand.
Did he sign
And
the other
all
person's?
he wrote on my hand was Chris. That's all he wrote. So like, to the world, that could be fucking anything. I could have written that. But I went home and I remember like being in my bedroom and being like, I can never wash this hand because Chris from UnderOath signed it. And I tried to take all these photographs, but also at the time we only had those like shocking cameras. And I was in my bedroom with like a lamp on, so the lighting was so bad. So I have all these pictures of like my hand right up against the lamp to try to get you to see that it says Chris on it. But
and
like
eventually she got it tattooed on her hand.
I should have. The pictures just look like a child scribbled Chris on my hand. Like you'd never know.
I remember being, and this is kind of insulting, but I don't mean it insulting, like really underwhelmed. I was like, oh yeah, that guy from UnderOath.
See, I hadn't really listened to UnderOath before we saw them. And I know when I saw them, I was like, fuck, they're really good. But then this guy came out on the stage and someone was like, oh my God, that's Chris from UnderOath. And I was like, who? Like, I had no idea. And then everyone was like, Chris from UnderOath, Chris. And I was like, oh, unreal, sign my hand. Yeah. But like, it didn't mean a lot to me at the time, honestly.
Yeah. I was just so focused on
but Chris on my hand, that's like my claim to fame.
Buddy Nielsen gave me a drumstick.
Fuck you.
I signed a ticket. And do you know what? I've probably thrown both those things away in a moment of, oh, I don't need this anymore. And now I'm devastated.
Well, I absolutely abused the singer from Bayside's arm. And there you go. Anthony Ranieri, I'm sorry. Sorry for your troubles. So they toured for most of 2007. However, during a Las Vegas date later in the year, drummer Aaron Gillespie had to have emergency surgery on his hand due to contracting an infection. And they had to call in replacement drummer Kenny Bozick from Aaron's other band, The Almost, to cover for him. So they would not have to cancel any dates. I couldn't find any more information other than he got an infection in his hand. I was like, what kind of infection? A staph infection? Is it serious? Like, I didn't find anything else. So Aaron had been lead singer and rhythm guitarist for alt-rock band The Almost since 2007. Kenny had been hiking around Utah when he was asked to cover for Aaron, listened to the band's songs on the flight over, and managed to make it 25 minutes before they went on stage.
Nice.
Spencer and guitarist Timothy Matei covered Aaron's vocal sections, and he rejoined UnderOath 4 days later.
Can't have been that serious then.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. In late 2007, they began filming their third-person documentary, Survive Kaleidoscope, with footage of the band on their September tour and the entirety of their We Believe in Dani tours.
That's quite good. Yeah, I like that.
This documentary was released in May 2008 and opened at number 81 on the Billboard 200. At the 2008 Hard Music Magazine Readers Awards, Aaron won Favourite Drummer and Timothy won Favourite Guitarist.
Cute.
Which is cute. In September 2008, they released their sixth studio album, Lost in the Sound of Separation, through Solid State and Tooth and Nail Records. It was produced again by Adam Duchowicz, Matt Goldman and the band themselves, with guitarist Timothy saying that it would be considerably heavier than Define the Grey Line. Everybody take a drink. This is our heaviest album yet. The album has been described as metalcore, post-hardcore and screamo, with elements of industrial, recalling the works of Refused, At the Drive-In and Cult of Luna. Some reviewers saw the album as more experimental than their past work, while others saw it as refining the sound of Define the Great Line. The album's recording process could be watched live through streaming platform Stickam.
That's cool.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
I can think back to that kind of time and the way the internet was back then.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. But I think it's so cool. You could just log in at any time and just watch what they were doing in the studio.
I'd love to do that now.
In addition to this, the members chatted to various fans when they had nothing to do and even held an interview through the platform. 2 weeks before the release of the album, UnderOath announced that a very limited quantity of golden passes were packaged with select copies of Lost in the Sound of Separation. The winner of a golden pass was allowed into any UnderOath concert for the rest of their formation.
That's cool.
Listening parties were again held at branches of Hot Topic stores.
Can you imagine going to a listening party in Asha?
I mean, there's been a few listening parties in Dublin, mainly run by Neverment and Oscar and all the rest, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it is a cool idea.
Not in Asha.
No.
But yeah, I just think it's so cool that you could just log in at any time and be like, hey, Aaron, what's up?
Yeah, they probably had to stop it because people would go all baby reindeer on them.
Probably. So according to Spencer, the album's name deals with people telling others what they can and cannot do. He said, it's the concept of being lost in that noise and trying to separate it all out to make sense of what is going on with your life. The lyrics tackle more personal subjects, such as struggles between band members and their near breakup. Lost in the Sound of Separation was met with universal acclaim from music critics, with Metacritic scoring it 92 out of 100. In its first week, the album debuted at number 8 on the Billboard 200 chart, selling around 56,000 copies and topping the Christian album chart.
Once again.
Any thoughts on this album?
This one and I think the next one I didn't like.
I really liked this album.
I didn't.
Again, kind of wanted Chasing Safety Part 3. But I do like it. It's got a good couple of bops in it. I listened to it like a couple of weeks ago when we were preparing for this. But I listened to it again this morning. And there was like one or two songs I was like, oh, what's this song? And I had to like take my phone out of my bag to check because I was like, I really like this one. And then put my phone back in. Then I was like, oh, fuck, what's this song? Like I had to check a couple of names because I was like, very good. Very good.
I just didn't really like it. It wasn't really grabbing me. I don't think I'll ever listen to it again, to be honest.
So following the album's release, they went on a tour of the US with support from Saison and The Devil Wears Prada. They finished the year with some dates in South and Central America and started 2009 with a co-headlining Canadian tour with Norma Jean and went on to play Warped Tour. While on tour in 2009, they began writing their next album. In April 2010, the band announced the departure of their final founding member, drummer Aaron Gillespie.
So sad.
The statement read, "We're taking this opportunity to sadly inform you the six of us have decided at the end of the current European tour, Aaron will no longer be playing in UnderOath. This was not a decision made in haste, but a thought out and preyed upon group agreement. It in no way affects any of the shows left on this tour. They will still be our best efforts and enjoyable experiences for all. For the future, Aaron will be pursuing other musical and ministry endeavours. As for the rest of us, we'll continue to work hard on the new UnderOath record. We appreciate the love and support from everyone in the past and hope that all of us will continue to receive your support on our future paths. We love you guys."
Oh.
And again, like every time they mention like Jesus and God and ministry and stuff, I'm like shook. And like I know they're a Christian band, but every time they're like, "And Jesus said," I'm like, sorry.
Yeah.
It's wild to me.
I still don't correlate the two. Yeah.
So shortly after leaving UnderOath, Aaron announced that he was working on a worship-based solo project, and his solo album, Anthem Song, was released in March 2011. He has released an EP and 3 other solo albums since then.
Wouldn't have known.
Following Aaron's departure, UnderOath recruited ex-Norma Jean drummer Daniel Davison for the recording of their new album. And in September 2010, it was announced that the band had signed to Roadrunner Records for distribution outside of the US and Canada.
Do you remember Roadrunner Records?
Yes.
Was it Roadrunner United? Was that the supergroup or the...
Oh, I can't remember. Did they have Slipknot on them? For some reason I have like Roadrunner and Slipknot as one of my...
Trivium, was it? There was some like supergroup and they had that one song and I'm pretty sure I had the album. Oh.
I remember they had it.
Yeah.
They released an album. I remember that. A postcard containing a piece of the album's artwork was sent to each person who pre-ordered the album. It was very cool.
That is pretty
The
cool.
buyer. Okay, now this is wild to me. The buyer was to take a picture of that postcard and upload it to UnderOath's official website. And once every piece had been uploaded, the band would release the artwork.
That's cool.
And a task that was achieved in September 2010. I think they have great faith in people that they think that every single person who does that is going to do that.
Yeah. Sorry, I've just discovered Roadrunner United. So it's a project organised by Roadrunner Records to celebrate its 25th anniversary. 4 team captains were chosen to lead 57 artists from 45 past and present Roadrunner bands and produce... Roadrunner. Then Slipknot drummer Joey Jordison, Trivium frontman and guitarist Matt Heafy. Isn't that gas?
I knew it was something to do with Slipknot.
Yeah, I knew it was something to do with Trivium. Okay, let's go back to...
We're both correct. So the band hosted a game on their Twitter and Facebook profiles. It consisted of scrambled titles for tracks featured on the album, and the first person who unscrambled the words won an UnderOath t-shirt. The band also released one of their new songs, Illuminator, by Layers, giving away one instrument's part at a time, and the song was fully uploaded on October 1st, 2010. So like they did a lot of work before they released this album. There's a lot of shit going on.
It would never work these days, but it's cute.
The song Caching Myself was uploaded to YouTube on October 28th. However, all the vocals were taken out. The lyrics were put up in the video and viewers were told to put their own vocals over the song and upload it to YouTube. The submission chosen to be best would receive an UnderOath prize pack containing a shirt, poster, stickers and more, and the guitar used for the video of In Division.
That's really cool.
Which is really cool.
Really, really cool.
Like, I mean, there's part of me that would like want to take part in a competition like that, but also don't want UnderOath to see me singing their song that I don't know what it sounds like.
Mortifying.
Like, so embarrassing. In November 2010, they released their 7th studio album, Disambiguation, through Tooth and Nail Records. It was produced by Matt Goldman, who had produced their previous 2 albums, and Jeremy S.H. Griffith, who had previously produced for Sayson, Amberlynn and Norman Jean. The album received positive reviews from critics and received a score of 83 out of 100 from Metacritic. What do you think of this album?
So I liked this album. However, I felt like I was waiting for something to happen in all the songs.
This album's really different from the others because it doesn't have Aaron doing the clean vocals. Like, it's a lot darker and a lot heavier because it's only Spencer doing like the...
But I just felt like I was waiting for something. That just never came.
I think I enjoyed this. I think I wrote this before I listened to it. And then I was expecting it to be like really different. And when I listened to it, I was like, actually... couple bucks.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I was expecting. Like, it was way more enjoyable than I thought it would be, honestly. So the same month, they embarked on a headline tour, but on November 23rd, vocalist Spencer suffered food poisoning, and Tyler Smith of The Word Alive filled in on vocals for that show. In October 2011, they released a compilation called Play Your Old Stuff, which contained their previous 3 albums, The Changing of Times, Learning, Chasing Safety, and Define the Great Line, along with new artwork. I just like the concept of play your old stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's literally that part at the end of the Fall Out Boy video when Pete calls his mom.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh, what do you think of the new music?
Yeah,
and she's like, I like the old stuff. Yeah. That gets me every single time. I love it. In October 2012, the band announced on Twitter that they would be disbanding in 2013 and released a career-spanning compilation album called Anthology 1999 to 2013 in November 2012. They also announced a farewell tour with support from Me Without You, As Cities Burn, and Let Live.
Let Live, great band.
I've like never listened to them.
Oh God, you would love
but
them.
you know, they're one of those bands that's like everyone tells me I'd love, and I feel like I would, but I've just never given them the time to listen to them.
You don't need to. They're not touring or like. It's not like you'll miss out.
Okay. On January 26, 2013, UnderOath played their final show at Janus Live in St. Petersburg, Florida, with Aaron Gillespie joining them on stage to play Emergency Broadcast, The End Is Near, and Reinventing Your Exit, which I think is really cool. That they were like, we're broken up, Aaron's gone, but then they're like, he's going to come back for like farewell kind of thing.
Well, he was one of the founding members.
Correct. In August 2013, Aaron Gillespie was announced as Paramore's new touring drummer. He was to remain only for the duration of the self-titled tour's European dates, but later remained for the duration of the North American fall tour of that year, as well as the Australian and New Zealand legs of the tour. He went on several tours with them over the following years, but since their original drummer rejoined, he no longer plays with them.
Oh.
Did you know that?
No.
It's really cool. He just like was part of Paramore, but he never wrote any songs or he never was like part of the creative stuff, but like he did all the touring stuff for ages.
That's pretty cool.
He's a really good drummer.
Imagine we went to see Paramore
really
and he was a drummer. That'd be cool.
Yeah, very cool. So in late 2013, Spencer Chamberlain announced his new band, Sleepwave, a rock band, who released their debut album, Broken Compass, in September 2014 via Epitaph. 2 years after the split, in January 2015, they launched a campaign to finalise production of a documentary film about the 12 shows of their farewell tour, posting 2 trailers for it on their YouTube channel. In July 2015, they began teasing the phrase, "Rebirth is coming," with a cryptic video across all of their social media accounts. The audio from the video, when played backwards, was their song, "It's Dangerous Business Walking Out Your Front Door."
Who figured that out?
I feel like this is really a lot for a band who's only been gone for 2 years. Like, if this was like 10-year hiatus,
fair,
I'm like, okay, I feel like this is so exciting they're coming back. But like, it's only been 2 years. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
In August, they announced their first show since disbanding 2 years previously. They headlined Self-Help Fest in San Bernardino, California in March 2016 alongside A Day to Remember. I think A Day to Remember put that on, if I recall correctly, from the A Day to Remember episode. I have absolutely no memory of anything that happened 20 minutes ago, so I'm going to assume. In an interview with Alternative Press, the band confirmed that they were reuniting alongside original member Aaron Gillespie.
Do you think it was all just a big...
He's back, baby!
Was it all just a big ploy to make them popular?
I think he was like, I think I'll leave, and then he's like, never mind. I listened to like a podcast talking to him, and like he's very sound and seems very down to earth, very cool guy.
Yeah.
I think he just maybe had a moment where he was like,
we all have those moments.
I want to try and do something different. And then he was like, I kind of love being UnderOath, never mind. So in April 2018, the band released their 8th studio album, Erase Me, through Fearless Records. It was produced by Matt Squire, who you may remember from Cutest What We Aim For, Same Old Blood Rush with a New Touch, Good Charlotte's Cardiology, Panic at the Disco's A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, Say Your Sins, In Search of Solid Ground, Simple Plans, Get Your Heart On, Taking Back Sundays, New Again, and The U's Artwork. And if you want to know more about any of those albums,
Go back.
we have episodes on every single one of them. Mm-hmm. So
I recommend
dive deep.
The cutest
into our
what we aim
history.
for one.
Cutest what we aim for one.
What was your man's name again?
Is a
Shanoa.
standout. Do you know what? I feel like I'd know if you hadn't have said Shanoa.
Yeah,
Now that's
me
like
too.
thrown
Now
me.
It's like blocked my brain.
Shant.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Also, the members of Cutest What We Aim For have listened to our Cutest What We Aim For episode, so and that is up there.
Shout out to you for its motto.
So this album came 8 years after Disambiguation, which was their longest gap between albums. Upon announcing the album, the band updated their Spotify biography to read, "The band who once openly and without apology professed their faith-based worldview on stage nightly have since moved beyond the realm of seemingly impenetrable polemics. At various junctures, Erase Me illustrates the moments of sanctuary, anxiety, betrayal, and conflict that inevitably arise when humanity grapples with belief systems." The album received positive reviews upon release, with some publications praising the chemistry between screamer Spencer Chamberlain and singer Aaron Gillespie, as well as Christopher Dudley's programming, while many fans criticised the band for the album's sound focusing on alternative rock more than the metalcore of their back catalogue. What do you think about
I
this
liked
one?
it. I actually preferred the metal rock, the alternative rock more than their metalcore.
I feel like with so many of the bands that we've been through on this podcast, it's like they just take a turn and you're like, what is this? I don't get this. I don't know what's going on. I feel like this album was so enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I was so not expecting it to be good. I was like, oh, they went away for 8 years. Now what are they doing? And listen, I was like, fucking great album.
Yeah, because I listened to these two, like the more recent two, after the first album, where I was like, not really feeling this, I need to find something else. I actually really liked it. I wasn't expecting to. I was expecting to be like,
That I wasn't expecting to like it, and it was so good. I think I have more respect for it after listening to that interview with Aaron, where he was like, we don't want to make the same album again. We're older, we're progressing, we're trying to make new sounds, we just enjoy like making the music, and whatever that sounds like is what we're putting out. And like I respect it so much after listening to that, not being like, we wanted to make something heavier than ever before.
It was like, album yet.
It's like, no, they're just like trying to make something new, and this is what comes out, and it's cool. So in late April, they went on No Fix tour in support of the album's release, alongside Dance Gavin Dance, definitely cancelled.
Arseholes? Yeah, those ones.
The lead single from the album, On My Teeth, received a Grammy nomination for Best Metal Performance. They supported Korn and Alice in Chains on tour in mid-2019, which I think is really interesting, because I feel like even the bands they're with is completely different.
Yeah.
From July 2021, they began to release singles from their forthcoming album, which was due for release in October 2021. However, the release was delayed due to vinyl production delays.
COVID?
Vinyl production, apparently. Could have been an effect of COVID, actually. In January 2022, UnderOath released their 9th studio album, Voyeurist, through Fearless Records. It was produced by Aaron Gillespie, Spencer Chamberlain, Timothy McTague, Chris Dudley, and JJ Revel, who's drummer for Aaron's band, The Almost. The band described the album as high-def violence, with a technologically advanced but undeniably visceral sound.
Where do they come up with these descriptions?
I mean, I'm really enjoying the words.
They're just saying words. Like.
Guitarist Tim McTague stated, "I've always wanted to record our own album. I think we just needed to get into a headspace personally that would allow criticism and critique to land in a productive and constructive way. We grew so much in real time, and I think the record speaks to that growth and collaboration. I haven't ever felt this attached to a project in my life." The album was performed live entirely in a live stream concert entitled Voyeurist Digital Ghost on December 3rd, 2021. The single Pneumonia is the album's 7-minute finale and was partly inspired by the passing of guitarist Tim McTague's father. Numb is described as a grown-up version of something off their 2004 album They're Only Chasing Safety. According to the liner notes in the album, Timothy McTague played both lead guitar and bass for the recording of the album, and bassist Grant Brandel was not credited.
That's awkward. Why?
Which is really weird. Is that kind of like dismissing someone to like touring basis?
Yeah.
You know, like you're not in the recording, but you're still in the band, so I guess you just like play live with us. Because Tim can't do lead guitar and bass at the same time.
You could try.
UnderOath embarked on a North American tour in support of the album with Spirit Box from February to March. Vocalist Spencer Chamberlain stated about the tour There was a time during the pandemic where I didn't know if we'd ever get to tour again. I would sit up at night and try to wrap my brain around a world without live music, and I just couldn't ever digest that thought. Every Time I Die was originally to join UnderOath and Spirit Box for the Voirist tour, but the group split up in January 2022. They were replaced by Bad Omens and Straight from the Path. In March 2023, longtime rhythm guitarist James Smith announced that he had been informed he was no longer a member of UnderOath. In April, the band released a statement saying, "As some of you have noticed, James was not on the Blind Obedience tour, and we want to clarify that we have officially decided to part ways. We care for James. We want the best for him, and that will never change. There were differences that we hoped we'd be able to work through that unfortunately we realised we weren't able to. This was an incredibly difficult situation and isn't something that can or should be addressed on the internet, and we hope you all understand." The band are currently on a 20-year anniversary tour for their Only Chasing Safety, which covers the UK, Europe and North America.
I thought they were going to come here.
I'm going to say I'm very upset that I'm not going to see them.
It'd be great.
Perform Chasing Safety live.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's been so many gigs recently and there's been so much stuff on that
You just can't do it.
I just can't go somewhere else to see them.
I went to 4 gigs in the space of a week and that was hard.
If they were playing here, 1000% I'd be there, but I can't
just
justify going away again. But I'm also like really upset that I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, but we'll manifest it. They'll come back.
The problem is that they announced they're playing the UK and Europe, which was cool. And then after the fact, they announced that it was going to be the anniversary of Chasing Safety and they were going to play the album. Because they didn't say that when they announced it at first.
And if we'd known that, maybe we would have thought differently.
Exactly. I do think I would have ended up going if I had known. But like the fact that it was announced after the fact is what ruined it for me.
We just couldn't do it.
I also feel like I didn't touch on the fact that they don't identify as a Christian band anymore. And basically that's because Spencer, I know the Fat Mike thing was like a rumour that he was taking cocaine with him backstage. And everybody denied it, but Spencer actually did have a problem with drugs for a while.
Ooh.
Like a really bad addiction to cocaine. And he said that he got absolutely no support from the like Christian community.
No.
Like they just treated him as like a problem. And he said that the people who were the most supportive and tried to get him help were people outside of the Christian community. And that made him think twice about religion. And then all of the band kind of were like, we think that religion and music should be kept separate.
Yep.
And now they don't identify as a Christian band anymore, which is wild because they were such a Christian band for so long.
Then also like didn't all the members leave at one point? So
like everyone was gone and then they came back. Well, not all of them came back. Aaron came back, which is the main thing because I think he's the biggest legend in that band. Honestly, he's my fave.
That's cute.
What is your song?
So which one are we doing first?
Song skip.
Song skip, right. So it's on disambiguation. It's actually the first song in Division. Because like I said, I was just waiting. I was waiting for something to happen and nothing happened.
Can I see it for
It just felt so flat.
Do you know what? I feel like that could have been actually my song. I remember it was the first song in an album and now I'm thinking it was the first song in Disambiguation. Because I like the other albums.
Great minds.
Do you know what? Also, The Changing of Times, there's a song on that called A Message for Adrian that I really don't like. I was like, who the fuck's Adrian? I hate her. Because I'm not feeling this song whatsoever. What is your song on repeat?
Look, I was going to pick something like To Be Cool, right? And then I realised I'm
You're not cool.
Like, come on, let's just be honest about it. And also, it's called Song on Repeat, and this is the song that I always have on repeat, so it's just going to be a boy brushed red living in black and white. Sauce, guys.
Fair. Mine is also from Chasing Safety, and it's Down Set Go, which has been my song on repeat for years and years and years. It's always the song I go back to. It's just like, it's a fucking banger.
I mean, that whole album.
The whole album I would have on repeat, honestly, and I still, like, sometimes I turn it on, and it's like, every time I turn it on, I'm like, man, it's so good.
Yeah, it's
like,
so
every
good.
time I'm like, unreal.
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 I'm glad they're not perverts.
Absolutely no bad stories. Couldn't find it. Everything I found was like very sound guys, very normal, very cool, very good things. Everything I heard about UnderOath.
Cute.
No bad stories.
UnderOath. And you played Warped Tour loads of times, so fair play.
Do you want to read the 2 messages that we got on podcast page on Instagram? So we've started a new thing that when we're going to do an episode, we're going to ask you guys if you have any thoughts, anything you want to share about the band. So if you want to be included on our next episode, write into us and let us know what your things are and we'll include you. So Kilo, who is
Kilo,
our pal of the pod.
Kilo, where are you? Kilo.
So Kilo had some things to say about UnderOath. So Kilo said, I remember being like 13 years old, my brother handing me a CD of the Define the Great Line album. I then spent the next 2 years growing my hair out and quoting lyrics and introducing friends to it. Needless to say, few stayed, and I look back with embarrassment. And that's something that I learned from watching the YouTube video about them. Like, these were one of the first bands that had the, like, straightened hair, the skinny girl jeans, the white belts. Like, this was new, and they kind of were, like, the template for that kind of band going forward. And then another disguise band, who you should check out. They said they're the first heavy band I ever heard. A friend put on It's Dangerous Business, and it changed my life.
That's so cute. I love when things change your life.
So if you want to be included on our next episode, send us some messages and let us know your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, whatever you want to say about the next band, who are...
Oh, so like, I'm just in two minds about this.
Oh, no.
I'm like, we're going there. I don't want to go there, but also I just feel it needs to be talked about because he's mental. Oh, sorry, I don't like saying the word mental, but he's a character. We'll say that much, right?
Okay.
So the band I'm going to do is 30 Seconds to Mars, and we're going to talk about Jared Leto.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do this episode because I feel like there's so much to say about him.
So much to say about him. So that's where we're going, guys. I had a few options there, and I decided to go with this one.
I mean, couple tracks.
Couple tracks. We all know what tracks we're talking about.
Claire was like, you're going to be so mad when you hear what band it is because you don't like them or something.
No, I know what you said. Like, I'm so excited to listen to something else. And I was like, you might not be excited to listen to this band.
I'm excited to listen to them. They have a couple of fucking tracks.
Okay, good. Okay.
If you want to stay up to date with everything that's going on with us, please follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We're Foundations of Emo. And on X, we are Foundations Emo. And we are also on Facebook now. You can find us on Foundations of Emo, I think. We're everywhere. Why not come find us and be included in our next episode? Tell us what you think about 30 Seconds to Mars, and we'll include you on the next episode.
Tell us what you think about Christianity. No, don't. But because we might
get into that.
Thank you so much to everyone that listens and supports. It's so good, and we love you. Okay, bye.